welcome to this edition of This is the Life for January 2025. I'm your host, Christian Gibbons. This month on the program, Carlene from the DIA will be here. She is leaving us at least from coming to the village in the year 2025, and so we spoke to her about her time here at the village and what we can expect from her in the future. Also, we'll meet with the Friendly Neighbors group. They're here to explain what the Friendly Neighbors program is and how you can A, use their services, and B, how you can get involved. That's all next, here on This is the Life. And we'll be right back.
What good is sitting alone in your room?
Allegria Village Resident Life presents Vanessa Carr in concert. For one day only, Broadway meets Vegas in a dynamic musical performance by this Detroit area native, known for her award-winning performances and wide-ranging library. Join us in the chapel for a free concert event.
Welcome back to This is the Life. I'm your host, Christian Gibbons. We are here with Carlene from the DIA, our docent here at Allegria Village, who is wrapping up a really long career of coming here to the village to spend some time and share all of the treasures that the DIA has to offer with us here in the village. That does not mean that she's done being seen around the village. You just won't probably see her in person. But welcome to the show, Carlene. Just a few questions to start. Give us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, where you went to school, what you went to school for.
My husband and I grew up in New Jersey, and when you live in New Jersey, where you go for field trips is to the Met, to MoMA, to the Guggenheim. So when we were going to move here, when my husband took a position with General Motors, I said, what art could be here? Don't we have all the art in New York? And of course, we were here a week. We went to the DIA and were amazed at what was here. And so that began our lifelong love of the DIA. So we've been members since 1966. And then I had a whole career with Henry Ford Health. I was managing medical centers for a long time. And when I retired, I decided to go for the docent training. So at the time, 15 years ago, we were just starting to do the programs and the community. And so I really took to that, and I ended up being the one that does the most. We have over 20 different topics. So that's what I've been doing for really the past 10 years, pretty much exclusively.
Okay, and refresh my memory, the millage passed for the DIA
in 2012.
In 2012, so
Correct.
It's been 12 years now of having that millage, and as part of that millage proposal was this outreach program.
Exactly. So there were two parts to that. One was the outreach for us to go there. The other outreach was for senior groups and school children to come to the DIA, and the DIA would pay the transportation.
Okay.
Because before the millage passed in 2012, when the students came to the museum, the school districts used their own buses. And that doesn't work very well because the same buses are used for high school, middle school, and elementary school.
And your timing is all...
So the timing makes it hard for them. So with us providing the buses, that took a huge burden off the school districts. So we have something like 700,000 kids come a year.
Wow.
We're busy like 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday.
Wow.
They have the student tours.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And so what got you interested in art? You said growing up in New Jersey and going to the Met. What other influences influenced your love of art?
Well, my husband and I are not lay on the beach people. So when we go on vacation, we go to art museums and history museums too. So we've always gone to museums. We've always been interested in museums. So we've been married a long time. I've been married 58 years. So we've gone on a lot of vacations. And I've seen a lot of museums, mostly in Europe.
So what's your favorite museum?
I didn't have a favorite museum because wherever I am is my favorite.
Yeah. The correct answer there was DIA, the DIA.
The DIA is one of the favorites, but I don't have a favorite, no.
So what are some of your favorite pieces in the DIA's collection? You've seen a lot of it, I assume.
I have seen a lot of it. The very first piece that we saw, the first time we went to the DIA, was the Veiled Lady. And the Veiled Lady is something everyone should look up on dia.org, search the collection, look for that. because it's about a 4.5 foot statue in marble of Rebecca from the Old Testament of the Bible. And she's about to meet her prospective bridegroom, Isaac, and she puts a veil over her whole body. So it covers her face and continues to the hem of her dress. And if I ask anybody, do you think you can carve a veil out of marble? Nobody would believe it.
Right.
But this is carved out of marble. And it just, you can't believe that it's not 2 layers. The veil,
Right.
it's all an illusion, and it's just incredible. And you wouldn't believe that out of a rock, you could carve
Right.
veils and fabric. But
Like a lot of time, a lot of
he's done
practice.
it. The artist has done it.
Yeah.
Right?
So, what are some of your other favorite? Do you have any favorite paintings or other parts of the collection that you enjoy?
I think what my husband and I used to do, which I'd recommend to anybody, is when you're there for whatever purpose you're going to the museum to see a special exhibit or something, we always would go someplace where we hadn't been before. The DIA has 110 rooms.
Yeah.
So we always looked for like a corner or an end of a floor or end of a wing that we hadn't been to before. And I think that's what really is interesting. Like when you go on your adventures.
When I was on the DIA website, you mentioned that you haven't seen all of it. It says spend 3 hours there, and you see that you've got to spend at
No.
least half of a day, if
Well,
not a
not
full
only that,
day.
but we always tell people don't try to see the whole museum one day because you won't remember.
Right.
You're better off chunking, making chunks
Yeah.
of it and seeing, the first floor one time, and because it's just overload. It's just too much one time.
And if you live in the 3 counties,
You're
including
going
Wayne
free.
County here, you're here
That's
free,
right,
so
you're
it
going
doesn't
free.
really matter.
So that's the other thing that happened in 2012. Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb residents pay a tax, and that gets you free admission anytime. So there's no reason why you can't just go for an hour.
Right.
See
My
a
wife and
little
I,
bit?
yeah,
Yeah.
my wife and I go quite often,
Yeah.
and just go have lunch in the cafe,
Exactly.
and then see, maybe spend an hour there. Just, about just a short story. A couple of years ago, we had Tiger tickets for a day game,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had a show at the Fisher that night. We had some time to kill,
Right.
so we just went to the
Perfect.
DIA and had lunch and hung out and. Saw some of the gorgeous pieces there. So it's a real gem here in Detroit.
It is a gem, and with the free admission, it's perfect for just going for a little bit,
Right.
little bit at a time. Speaking of dates or going to the museum for short times, I have one of the places I present is at Fleischmann Residence at the Jewish Community Center in West Bloomfield, and I have ladies who are over 100. When we talk about a certain piece of art, they'll say, "Oh yeah, my boyfriend, my then boyfriend, and I used to go after our classes at Wayne State, and that's where we
Oh,
met
wow.
for dates." So they would choose a certain work of art, and that's where the meeting place would be.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's 80 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible. People have wonderful memories.
Yeah. What are you doing in your retirement? Because I know you're still going to be working, you're still going to be out there in the community. So what other places will you be speaking at, and where can some of our residents catch you?
Well, I am at libraries and community centers and senior residences. The senior residents, of course, are not open to people.
Right.
But I do speak at libraries, and all of us do. There are other people besides me who do the talks. But I know people are speaking at Bloomfield Township Library, Plymouth. I've spoken at Plymouth Library, Birmingham Next, which is the senior group in Birmingham. There's a lot. I would say check your local library listings because we go to a lot of the libraries, and those are open to everybody.
Okay.
I've spoken to Troy a number of occasions too.
And like I said when we led this interview off, she might be going away in person, but you'll still see her on the screen. We've got some plans to try and get Carlene back in the village in some capacity in the near future, in the new year. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Technology will help us.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, thanks again for
You're
all of
very
your
welcome.
work over the years here at Allegria Village and Henry Ford Village. And This is the Life, I'm Christian Gibbons. We'll be back right after this.
What good is sitting alone in your room?
Allegria Village Resident Life present Vanessa Carr in concert. For one day only. Broadway Meets Vegas in a dynamic musical performance by this Detroit area native, known for her award-winning performances and wide-ranging library. Join us in the chapel for a free concert event.
Welcome back to This is the Life. I'm Christian Gibbons, and we're here with the Friendly Neighbors, one of the many resident groups and one of the very useful groups here at Allegria Village. Ladies, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So, before we get started, give me a little bit of the background of the Friendly Neighbors group. What was the idea of the Friendly Neighbors, and where did it come from?
Well, way back in March of last year at the resident council meeting, both Nancy and Judith talked about how the place was so big and we needed a way to get people together, a way to get them to know their neighbors. And so that was how it started. The three of us got together. We did a survey of communication. How do you get your information about this place? And would it be helpful if there was someone on your floor that you could go to when you had a particular question? So that's how it got started. In May, we called a meeting of anybody who was interested, and 16 people showed up at that one. And since that time, we have gone up to 28.
Wow.
So that's covering most of the floor. There are 37 floors in the 7 buildings. So we have about 8 more people to go.
Wow, that's incredible. So what exactly does Friendly Neighbors mean?
Okay, the purpose.
Yeah.
So when you come to a community, you're leaving a neighborhood, usually, of some sort. And so we are a high-rise apartment complex, essentially. And so you get greeted and oriented to some of the specifics on the property, but then what happens 6 months later, all right? So our purpose was to continue to foster a sense of community through the creation of neighborhoods. And the neighborhood being the easiest one is your floor. And so if you had someone on the floor who was outgoing and receptive to questions, then you could make a connection faster than you might in a regular apartment situation. So that became the purpose, to answer questions, to give directions, to just be a trusted entity on the floor.
So we'll go to you now. So who are the Friendly Neighbors?
Each building hopefully recruits persons who are interested in reaching out and being friendly with their neighbors, with the concern that people enter Allegria Village, and because of its size, have a difficult time getting answers to all of their questions about the programs and the activities. And number one is meals, just getting acquainted with how to maneuver and receive meals, and ideally be able to find people to sit at dinner and have meals. Yeah, right.
So let's say I'm new, and like you said, you get acquainted, you get organized into the village, but like 6 months in, it's a huge place.
Right.
I haven't been here quite 6 months yet. I still get lost.
That's right.
So how do I find out who my friendly neighbor is on my floor?
Well, there's a little card
There's a little card.
that goes on the door jamb
Right.
of each friendly neighbor, so they can come around. And each one chooses how they want people to contact them. Some prefer phone calls.
Right.
Nancy leaves a little pad outside her door for people to write questions to slip under the door.
We also have a larger postcard that has the same logo and says Friendly Neighbor on it. And it's a way for the friendly neighbors to make invitations, invite you to meet for dinner, or if they're having a gathering on their floor, which has had one of the floors invited people, just open your door and, you know, come on out and have cider and donuts during,
like a block
during
party.
like a
Yes.
block, exactly, like a block party. But you always need an instigator.
Yeah, right.
Okay, an initiator, and that's really what the friendly neighbors are, initiators, and really someone like you had in your old neighborhood, that if something was going on, you knew this person knew where to go, what the answer was, or at least to give you the right
So like
direction.
an HOA without the fines.
You got it. And much friendlier.
Yeah.
Much
Yes.
friendlier.
So I noticed in the last couple of weeks the addition of some bulletin boards outside of most, if not all, of the elevators here in the village, and they say friendly neighbors on them. So what's the purpose behind those, and what are you guys going to use them for?
Well, that was Joanne Delasanta's idea, to have a place that any friendly neighbor could put a little notice about things. And we sort of missed over the holidays, where there were several days that there were no evening meals. And that was the sort of thing that we probably should have put on the bulletin boards. Be careful, no evening meals on these days. But it's there for any of the friendly neighbors to put a little notice up. So there's one, or at least will be one, in each building.
Right.
Judith doesn't have one yet.
No, okay.
It will
But
be
for
there.
example, when there's a change in the pickup schedule for trash, putting it there, people use the elevators on a regular
Right.
basis. And so, again, even though it's in the scroll, it's posted in all the normal places. This is the one last chance to get to people, to remind them.
For the important community stuff.
Right,
Yes.
things like that. And being a friendly neighbor on the floor, you can talk to your floor mates and just say, remember, there's no pickup today, it's going to be Tuesday instead of Monday. And so, again, being proactive about the routines that we get used to, that change, because we know as we age, we don't like it. We don't like change. This helps us to be adaptable. So we have some examples.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us role
Yeah,
play.
sure,
and
go for it.
show.
Okay.
Okay, right?
I want to watch one of the CTV programs, but how do I find out when it's on?
You know what? Have you talked to Brendan in IT? He knows how to help you find the TV channels. Let me give you his number. Okay.
Okay.
Let me call him for you, right? And make an appointment for him to come and see you.
Okay, but
Okay.
isn't there any place that I can find out where the programs are?
I would not be the person to ask. I don't watch TV until the evenings.
Well, actually, I know that there's a list of programs outside the
Okay.
studio. There's a list in the craft room. Those are the two printed ones. And then on Odyssey, which is what you're talking about,
Right.
they're listed there also.
But if if you're new and are technically challenged, Odyssey might be a challenge for you. And so Bill Leitner can help you get connected.
Who's he?
He's the concierge.
Okay, how do I
Okay.
find him?
Do you have a moment? I'm going past windows and there's his offices down there.
Oh.
I'll be
Oh,
happy
that's
to walk you
nice.
down.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's go together. And that has happened pretty frequently. The other day, I was in visiting a resident, and she never used induction stove before. She always had gas and had no idea how to start her oven. And I said, let me show you. And I showed her how to start her oven, and she cooked her turkey. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Anything
try
else?
to answer the easy questions
Right.
and send you to the source for the hard questions. So, I didn't get my trash out in time and they didn't pick it up. What do I do with it?
Again, can someone else respond to that?
Oh,
'Cause
sure.
I'm close to the trash, and I take my own.
Okay.
That-
And
well,
a lot
that's
of
the
us
answer.
do that. But the trash schedule, the recycling schedule can be confusing, okay? So again, the note cards come in really handy. You can write it down. There's a pickup on Monday, there's a pickup on Thursday for trash. Don't put it out too early. Make sure you put it out after 8 o'clock the day before, and I can write that down for you. And then on Wednesday, there'll be recycling. Put it on your door, and this might help.
Okay.
Or put it
thank
on
you.
your fridge. Okay? Is that helpful?
Friendly neighbor, there's water dripping down from my ceiling. What do I do?
Well, we all depend on making phone calls to the central desk where we live and ask to be directed to security, not security, to, it's not
Maintenance.
engineering either, it's what?
Maintenance.
Building services.
To maintenance. And tell them how urgent it is, so they'll know how quickly they need to come to your apartment
Thank
to
you.
repair. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And other things we've done, some of the friendly neighbors have invited people on their floor to go to an activity. I had a dinner for everyone on the floor because we had 2 new residents. And so all I did was ask Aja to set up a table in St. Clair. We all came down and had dinner together. So, but there are no specific responsibilities. We meet together once in a while, but we just say, be the person on your floor that new people can, not just new people, anybody can go to when they need some help.
And
But I think part of what we really want to do is make new people feel comfortable and feel like they're part of the building as quickly as possible.
And many of the folks coming in are in need of extra services and help. Some have family close by, others don't. And part of what friendly neighbors do is just be aware of who's on your floor, who you've seen and who you haven't seen, and knock on the door sometimes. I have a gentleman on my floor whose wife is in assisted living. I don't see him a lot, but every once in a while I'll just tap on the door and how's things going, just want to say hi, if there's anything you need, let me know. It just, again, creates that sense of neighborly feelings that you're not here alone, that if you ever need someone, you're not invisible. People know that of your comings and goings. You may want to keep to yourself, and that's okay. We respect that. But we want you to know that you don't need to feel that you're here all by yourself.
And you said you had most of the floors covered. So how many floors do you have left that you need people for?
About 8.
About 8
About 8.
floors.
So
yeah.
if somebody out there wanted to become a friendly neighbor, how would they go about doing that?
They simply talk to one of us.
Yeah.
You just call the front desk and ask to speak to one of us.
One of the
and we will
or
be-
look for those cards. Look for the cards on the door frames, and you could talk to any one of the friendly neighbors, and they will direct you to one of us. And it's about being friendly, approachable. That's it.
And-
Really, that's the criteria.
And you can talk to anybody in resident life. We'll have the numbers to give out if you need that information, because it's such a good program, especially like you said, coming from the outside where you're used to having a community, you're used to maybe attending activities, and you don't have that feeling anymore. It's nice to know that we have a community here, because this is a great community. You just have to get yourself out there, and sometimes it takes a little push to get involved in what's going on here at the village, and it's a huge place.
And
So
so it takes an invitation sometimes.
Yeah.
And someone walking with you, that means a whole lot, that you don't have to enter a room by yourself. Making friends as we age is a little bit more challenging, and so knowing that someone is willing to put themselves out for you just makes them more comfortable.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you for being on the program, and we'll be right back right after this.
Thanks.
What hood is sitting alone in your room?
Allegria Village Resident Life presents Vanessa Carr in concert.
Oh, yeah.
For one day only, Broadway meets Vegas in a dynamic musical performance by this Detroit area native, known for her award-winning performances and wide-ranging library. Join us in the chapel for a free concert event.
That'll do it for this edition of This is the Life. My thanks for my guests for appearing on the program this month, and my special thanks to Marion Harris and Chuck Hiller for helping me to produce this month's program. I'm Christian Gibbons. Thanks so much for watching.